Hello everyone, this is OGAE Azerbaijan, and today we will get to know another artist, another finalist of Festival da Canção, who will sing Dancing in the Stars.
Now you're dancing in the stars so perfect.
It's the one and only NEEV. Hello and welcome.
Hi, man. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
NEEV, before starting actual questions, can you please introduce yourself? Who is Bernardo Neves?
Bernardo Neves and NEEV are pretty much the same person, you know. I never wanted to create this character almost kind of thing. So NEEV is really attached to who I am as a human being. I've been making music since I remember, and since I picked the guitar for the first time, my first instinct was to make music. Here I am today doing the same thing, hopefully a little bit better.
When did you decide that you wanted to be a singer?
So it's so curious that you're asking me that question. And yesterday I was talking to a mother of a friend of mine, and she was telling this story of me when I was very young, and we were going to the beach with this friend, and she was saying that I sang the whole trip to the beach and the whole trip back, and I was very young. She was remembering me. She said, and then I asked you what he wanted to do for a living, and apparently I don't remember this, but she does, and apparently I answered, I want to be a singer when I grow up. I'm going to be a singer. I don't know what age I was, but I was very young, and I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew that I wanted to sing. I always knew that I wanted to make music, and so I never really envisioned something different for myself. And even if it wasn't singing, music would always be and still is the epicenter of everything that I do. So that's the energy that I've decided to channel.
Actually, who is your musical inspiration?
Well, I have a bunch of them actually. I love the Beatles. I'm a huge fan of the Beatles. I learned a lot from them by listening to their music, and it really had a big influence in me as a songwriter. Neil Young is another great example of that too. More contemporary things are like Bon Iver, for example. I love Bon Iver, and I know that he's influenced a lot my perspective on making music, so he's a big part of that as well. Those three are a big influence, and I know that Ray LaMontagne, for example, is another one that I just remembered. Those names really had an impact on me as a musician, as an artist. So
at the age of 18, you moved to London for studies. How has studying in London affected you, your musical background?
Well, affected a bunch, not necessarily the studying part, but the living part. Absorbing that culture. I've always been very close to the English culture, always romanticized about it. I've always wanted to get to know it a little bit better because I always felt really close to it, even though I didn't grow up there. So I wrote a lot of my album there, and it was a very challenging time for me personally and all levels. It was risks after risks, and just struggling, and that's what it is. You got to take the leap of faith sometimes, and remembering what you're fighting for, remember why you're doing what you're doing. And I didn't come back the same person as I went there. I think I grew up a lot, and musically I think I enriched myself for real.
2016, you were in a duo with Norwegian band called Seb. You created The Breeze, which has been played over 130 million times on Spotify. How did this collaboration start?
Well, it was a great collaboration. It started really naturally. They heard the song and felt like they had something to bring to the table to it, and they elevated the song absolutely. And I mean, that's what all collaborations should do. It's elevate each other, and I think that's what happened. I think there was a strong link musically, and I think that's really the most important thing. And you mentioned it was played a lot, and that means that people were connecting to the song, and that's a beautiful thing. And I'm very grateful for that, and I'm sure there too.
In 2019, you released Calling Out, but it was your Lie You Love It that attracted international media. Both songs are produced by Larry Klein, who was also the producer for such artists like Tracy Chapman, Herbie Hancock, and Joni Mitchell. How did this collaboration start, and what did it give you to work such a well-known producer?
Well, I mean, the contribution of Larry to the record, I mean, it was invaluable. It was amazing and immaterial. I mean, it brought so much to the album. I mean, this is a record that took a long time to make. It went through a lot of rough times, and it really grew up with me, you know. And we grew with each other, to be honest. And as I grew up, I understood what I needed and what I wanted from a producer, and Larry was exactly that. You know, he's a really experienced guy, and he's really mature guy, and he knows so much. He knows so much, and he has that sound. You know, he knows how to get that sound that I was looking for. But even more than the sound is the depth that he brought to the record. I mean, everything happened very naturally. Our team got in touch with his team, and fortunately, he liked the songs, and we ended up connecting at a human level as well, which is really important. And after that was months of work, and we ended up creating the album that people can hear today, and I'm really proud of it. And he just gave so much to the record that it was a really, really beautiful collaboration, I think. And it's one of those moments that I will take with me, and I've learned so much from him.
Talk about philosophy. How the idea came to release this album?
I started writing this album before I knew that I was writing it. The first song I wrote was This Dream. It was the first song on the record.
'Cause if the night comes from the day, then I think I'm better asleep.
And actually, the music video that came to be of This Dream is the same recording that I did back then. It's exactly the same, the first demo. So the album really started there, and it still lives. That memory, that moment still lives in the album today, and what the album turned out to be. So it was a long journey, and I started writing it before I knew that I was even writing it. You know, that's why it has so much of the story of myself in it. It took me years to write, and I wrote songs in a very different time frames, and that led to the record being very eclectic. I really think it's a boundless record. It's a fearless record in a way that it's not trying to be something. It is what it is, and the songs are a true representation of the feelings that they're trying to portray. And I'm really happy with it as a first album, and it's called Philosophy. And it's really just poetry and philosophy, because that's really where my mind gets completely lost from time to time.
Since you are also a songwriter, how actually this procedure works for you? What motivates you to write a song?
Writing a song, it's like a conversation, or creating everything, every creative process. I mean, it's like a conversation, you know, it's not a fight. So I don't rationalize that process too much. I believe that music lives off living, and when you have a story to tell, when you have something to put out there, when there's something that needs to get out, that's what motivates you to write a song. I think it's that channeling that emotion, is channeling that, in turning it into a song, immortalizing it into a song. I write when I have something to write about, and when I deeply, genuinely want to write about it and make it into music. But writing comes first. That's where the first inspiration comes. It's something that matters enough in a way that has to come out. A lot of things inspire me, and music is one of them. But it could be anything. For every song in the record, there was a different thing that inspired me to write that song. But all of them, and in the end, was something that deeply mattered to me, something that deeply touched me. It had a mission of its own, to go beyond myself.
You also participated in different festivals, such as Vilar de Mouros Festival or Lisbon International Music Network. What do such festivals and events give to an artist?
I mean, it gives you experience. It gives you connection to the people. I mean, it's great. You connect with a lot of different artists. You get to meet a lot of fantastic people. Festivals always have this special vibe. It's a celebration. And you always feel like you're a part of that, and you're contributing it with your music. And that's beautiful in its own right.
Then let's move actually to Festival da Canção. How did you decide that you want to be part of it?
At first, I felt a little insecure. I mean, I felt like, oh, wow, this is different. This is new, and it's a new challenge. There's a lot of new things that come with it. But That always excites me. I'm one of those people, I really get excited with things that I don't know much about. I know enough about Festival da Canção and Eurovision to know that it is a celebration of values and principles through music. And for me, that's enough wanting to be a part of it. And that was a huge motivation for me, was to be able to, given the opportunity to be part of something that has that social impact, that has that relevance. For me to be able to give my contribution to that alongside all the other artists filled me with motivation to be a part of it, for sure. I mean, I didn't think twice about it.
Since you are one of the fan favorites to win, what will it mean to you to win the whole competition and represent Portugal in Rotterdam?
Well, I don't know if I am one of the favorites, but I for sure have been really blessed with all the support that I've been receiving. It would mean a lot. I always say that a country is its people. That's what a country is, and its culture. It lives inside of that same people. And so I'm one of those people. I'm Portuguese. I would be representing the emotions, the feelings of the people of Portugal, and that's a beautiful thing, I think, and a huge responsibility. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. I'm living this one day at a time. Portugal will be very well represented by any of the artists that running for that privilege, for that honor. And I think that's exactly what it is. It's an honor. It's an honor to be able to represent your country, to give everything you have, to really shine a light. If that's what turns out to happen, then I'll do exactly what I've been doing. I'll give 500% of myself to it.
Talking about pandemic, how actually it affected you as a musical artist?
Well, I mean, I released my record, and 3 months later, or something like that, the pandemic hit. So, I mean, I've been quite heavily affected, but so have so many other people. I mean, I just want to contribute as much as I can to make this time a little better, or something that gives any value to other people through music, because that's ultimately the mission of music in a way. So
another consequences of the pandemic for Festival da Canção is it's without audience. How actually it affect to you and your performance?
Well, there's a lot of audience. They're just on the other side of the screen, right? I mean, there's nobody on the studio, but it doesn't hurt me that much. I feel people are there. People are there maybe more than they were before, because they're feeling that so heavily on their own homes, and we're never alone. I didn't feel alone on that stage. I really didn't. I really felt that I was singing with everybody that's been messaging and sharing their stories, and all that beautiful journey towards that stage. I really took everybody with me. It is what it is. It's for the best. It's for the best, and that doesn't mean that people are not there with you. I'm doing what I love. I'm being given the opportunity and the privilege to do what I love, which is to sing, and even more, given a platform that is Eurovision and Festival da Canção, to be able to do it with so many people. I mean, imagine that. It's amazing. It's great. And so that's where the responsibility comes from. We're just 10 on that stage. There's millions, tens of thousands of artists. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing, to be honest.
Bernardo, do you watch Eurovision in general?
Yeah, I watch mostly the finals. Eurovision itself, I watch mostly the final. In Portugal, I follow more the Festival da Canção, the selection, because it's I think that makes sense. And I watch it more. That's kind of how I've been watching it for the past few years. Is Eurovision, I watch mostly the final, and then the big thing, and then in Portugal I watch the semifinals and the final.
Who is your all-time favorite?
ABBA, for real. I really like it. I have a bunch of records from them there, so I'm partial, but I guess it's just a happy coincidence that they were there. It makes it much easier for me to answer that question, because I genuinely like them.
Regarding your song, what's the message of the song you are trying to convey?
Well, I mean, the message or the origin is something that I usually don't discuss that much. I mean, I think the song is pretty self-explanatory as far as where it comes from. The face of it, I mean, I tend to keep that for myself, and I'll tell you why. Because I think one of the most beautiful things in music is how you're able to connect with it in your own way. And I think if the artist does his job well, then it's to go deeper than the face of that feeling. We all feel sadness, we all feel joy, we all feel loss, but we all give different faces to those feelings. I mean, my sadness may be because of a different reason than yours. I mean, I may be sad because of something, you may be sad because of another thing. But if I tap really deep into my sadness, you will relate to my sadness with your story, and that's beautiful. That's music bringing us together. So for me to tell the message or to tell the origin of the song, I think would be to castrate some of that, the possibility that music has.
Actually, do you have any plans to change anything regarding the staging?
I am a person that believes that less is more, because less a lot of the times brings us closer to the essence of things, to the heart of things. And I want there to be some changes. Maybe we all do, but there are limitations that go beyond us. And the most important thing right now, I think, is for us to celebrate music, and me as an artist to give everything that I have on stage. And if there's something that I really want to change from the first semifinal, is the same thing that I always want to change from one performance to another, which is, well, the last time I gave 100% of myself, well, let's give it 102% this time. That's my mentality. That's how I go about things.
I guess you have listened to all the songs from the show. What do you think? Who will be a really good competition to you? Or if not you, who would you like to represent Portugal?
Well, like I said, I think Portugal will be very well represented by any of us. I think Portugal, all the artists that are competing have the heart in the right place, and everyone's very serious about it in the right way, I believe, which is to be honored and feel that we're part of something that's bigger than us and something that's beautiful in its essence. So in that way, I think everybody will do a great job. I mean, in terms of competition, I wouldn't look at it that way. But if you ask me what would be my favorite, or of course I have my personal taste. I have no trouble telling you that I was really pleasantly surprised, and I'm very happy to say I like Valeria. I really like her voice, and I like her energy. So I would say her, but there's a lot of great songs and a lot of great artists performing and writing this year for Festival da Canção, and that's a great thing.
Besides Festival da Canção, what plans do you have?
Well, I always have a lot of plans. I'm one of those people that always have a bunch of ideas in my head, and I'm always wanting to do more things and explore new things and do different things. But right now, I'm really invested in Festival da Canção. That's really what I'm about right now. That's what I breathe every day, to be honest with you. And I've before Festival da Canção, I was writing, and after Festival da Canção, let's see what happens, but I assume that I will keep writing and making music and just doing what I love, and that's what brought me here, and that's what I believe will bring me to another beautiful places in the future. So definitely keep writing.
Do you have actually any message for your fans or supporters?
I'm very lucky to have people that have connected with the song, and we share our message together a lot of the times. But if I had any message, would be just to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we're celebrating music, and that's the most beautiful thing right now. I think this is a time when we got to be strong and really connect with our loved ones. It's a great time to go beyond ourselves as well, but we gotta look inside and make sure that we're in peace with ourselves right now. I've been finding so much, I wouldn't even say comfort, but so much goodness, sharing stories with all of you. And it's been wonderful and beautiful. And I appreciate all the support, and it's amazing. So yeah, I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's doing great.
Thank you very much for this interview. I wish you a very good luck in the competition, and who knows, perhaps we will see you in Rotterdam.
Who knows? We never know. Thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Finally, it's been so hard to make this happen, and it's my fault, but we did it, and I'm very glad that we did.